And let's start with this new law in New Jersey that will eliminate the requirement that a teacher candidate complete a basic skills test. Now, when you first hear this, red flags go up.
Too much propaganda, spiritual pollution, too many problems, not enough solutions, so many billionaires that make no contributions, gotta create fund and maintain our institution.
All right, listen up, y'all.
Greetings, everybody. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. I am your host and educator, DrAbdullah, giving you educational news from a foundational Black American man's perspective. If you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. Put me in the algorithm. Please follow on my social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Rumble, and X. If you like the content, like what I'm putting out, please go to the About section and buy me a cup of coffee. It will be greatly appreciated. Today, we're going to talk about the recent bill passed into law in the state of New Jersey, which will eliminate basic skills tests for teachers starting January 1.
I mean, this is part of a trend. New Jersey's doing what New York has already done. It's important to know that the teachers union, specifically in this case, the NEA, pushed really hard for this. And I'm a former member of the NEA in two states, and generally whatever they push for tends to be something that's not particularly good for students.
Some things go without saying. Some things really don't need to be said. But over here in All Things Education Official, not only am I going to say them, I'm going to say them loud and proud, and I'm going to actually give you commentary on said things because they can't just be swept under the rug because we assume everyone knows. This is bad for children in general and horrible for Black American children in particular. We are already disenfranchised economically, socially, and definitely educationally. We're marginalized in the educational spaces by limited resources, apathetic teachers, miseducation, top-heavy spending, and agendas that counter the growth of Black American children and their families. This will undoubtedly add another layer to that disenfranchisement as well as the miseducation, and it is a perfect representation of an already failing American educational system. According to the New York Post article, January 2025 New York Post article, New Jersey ends basic reading and writing skills test requirement for teachers. Act 1669, which was signed into law by Governor Phil Murphy in June, went into effect on Wednesday at the start of the new year. The law states, the State Board of Education shall not require a candidate seeking a certificate of eligibility with advanced standing, a provisional certificate, or a standard instructional certificate to complete a Commissioner of Education approved test of basic reading, writing, and mathematical skills, including but not limited to the Praxis Core Academic Skills for Educators test in order to obtain a certificate of eligibility, a certificate of eligibility with advanced standing, a provisional certificate, or a standard instructional certificate. What that means, people, is that the test that is required to gain access to classrooms to be considered a candidate for teachers, which is called the Praxis as a basic skills test to ensure that you are able to complete all of your work in basic mathematics, basic writing, basic reading. That will no longer be required so that you can get your certification to teach our children.
Really, the NEA wants to eliminate all barriers to teaching because that increases their number of dues-paying members. And when that's your mission, student learning and quality control really aren't priorities at all. So that's a concern for sure.
In a previous video, I spoke on the failings of our current teacher unions. And as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. Having been a part of three of them, I've been a part of three teacher unions. I'm currently a part of a teacher union now. And I can attest to the fact that it's nothing but a big money grab. That's all it is. It's a money-making venture that more often than not hurts children, does not give support to teachers that are actually doing the work, but they do support teachers who are terrible and who need to be drummed and pushed right out of the classroom and right out of academic spaces. And in some cases, they shouldn't even be around children. In this instance, I'm really trying to get my words together because I'm trying to figure out why this makes sense to anyone in the teachers union. But not only are people in the teachers union supporting this, the head of the largest teacher union in New Jersey, as you just saw, is supporting it and trying to make it seem as if this was going to be a net positive for children, when he knows that children are never going to benefit by lowering standards for themselves, for the families, for the community, and especially with teachers. This country has done a wonderful job of exploiting its most valuable resource. And what is that resource? Our children.
New Jersey is known for its high quality standards in education, and that really begins with the quality of our teachers. So why is the state's largest teachers union in support of getting rid of this Praxis basic skills test that aspiring teachers have to pass in order to become a teacher?
Yeah, listen, we're really excited to have the best schools in the nation. We have for some time. We continually do because, as you note, of educators and so many others who are part of that system. But we also know that we've got to eliminate barriers for people coming into the profession. And unfortunately, whether it's financial or otherwise, we see barriers sometimes that do not help us just recruit the best and retain the best, but really keep people out who would be great educators. And this is an example of that. Every educator still has to pass a subject-specific test that goes through exactly what they need to know for the course that they're going to teach. And the basic skills, I use that in air quotes, is doesn't really measure the things that someone would think maybe are basic skills that everyone needs to know. You know, it's pretty abstract and obscure, and it doesn't have any measure of how successful an educator will be. So we're excited again to see getting rid of a barrier. And I think that's always the dynamic that you're working through is how do you eliminate barriers that keep people out? You want people to get in, but you of course also want to maintain high standards. But we think we found the right spot on this one.
My question is this. If teaching outcomes in the state of New Jersey are so great and amazing, how do you conclude that lowering the standards will help to maintain this greatness or to increase it? That makes absolutely no sense. This is ridiculous. And you do not have to be in education. You do not have to be a teacher, an administrator, or even work in a school building to know that this makes absolutely no sense. It is a basic skills test. It is basic. Your basic understanding of reading, writing, and mathematics. Lowering the standards. Why is a teacher union not fighting against this? We already know that the teaching system is ran by people who do not educate. It's ran by people who know how to line their pockets and play the political game. We understand this. But why is the largest union of teachers not pushing against it? Well, as you heard, it's because if you get more members, you get more money. I know this to be true. I come from a union town. And if you were ever in Detroit and you ever been to Detroit, Michigan, you can go up 75 and the largest building on 75 is the American Axle Manufacturing Union building. It's bigger than the plants of the people that work there. It's huge. The union makes money, and it's no different than in educational unions. These guys are making money hand over fist, whatever the heck that means, but they're making big money, and they do not want to stop that cash flow. As a matter of fact, they want to bump it up by allowing people to be in the educational system as educators without even being able to ascertain if they can read, write, and do mathematics on a basic level. I believe truly that education is the most disrespected profession in American employment. The most. And I would say it's more disrespected than fast food workers. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a constant lowering of the bar, and also there is a never-ending compromise being forced upon the workers and the children are the ones who ultimately lose. Black American children in particular suffer the worst brunt of these compromises and these allowances that are being made at the expense. It's just ridiculous. If you applied the same level of compromise and lowering of standards to your local McDonald's, it would be closed within a month. I mean, imagine lowering the bar for workers who have to handle food, service customers, keep areas clean, and keep a business afloat. And on top of that, demand that they get paid more in the same breath. It would never work. It couldn't work. It won't work. And that's what's happening in the American educational system. You would have wilted fries. You would have either burnt burgers or raw burgers. And you would probably have a food poisoning episode at least once a week if you were able to lower standards, compromise the integrity of the company, but still demand more pay. Who'd go to that restaurant? Who'd go to that McDonald's? I know that I wouldn't. We had a Burger King in my neighborhood that operated this way. They're closed now. So you can keep schools open with the same model, though. That is what's blowing my mind. Schools could still lower the bar for the educators and still tell parents, you need to bring your kids to this school because they need to learn. But what exactly are they learning is the question. Without quoting decades of information and data to prove that our educational system is failing, it's become apparent that it's become a money grab for all the higher ups. We're talking from the commissioner of education all the way down to the janitors. This is a time for the foundational Black American family to really put this into gear, put our creation of our own institutions into gear, because we are seriously in a state of emergency. I think that's the best term. I try not to be hyperbolic and dramatic, but we are in a state of emergency, and we are in triage. We are prepping for a major surgery, and if we don't get ourselves together, our children, our community, and our future is what will suffer. A concerted effort must be applied by our advocacy organizations, our fraternities, our sororities. They need to be getting together to create schools, because when we leave, our children be left to fend for themselves. And in this world, if you cannot create value, which value then creates capital, your community is doomed. And we don't have time to play anymore, people. This has been another episode of All Things Education Official. I've been your host, DrAbdullah. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Come on over to my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, LinkedIn, X, and my social media handles. And please support me by buying a cup of coffee in my About section. It will be greatly, greatly appreciated. What do you think? Do you think New Jersey is doing the wrong thing, just like New York, by eliminating basic skills tests to recruit more teachers? I think so, but what are your comments? What are your thoughts? Please put them in the comments section. Start the conversation. Greatly appreciate you. You are dismissed.
Yeah! You are all expurgated. You are dismissed.
Too much propaganda, spiritual pollution. Too many problems, not enough solutions. So many billionaires that make no contributions. Gotta create fund and maintain our institutions. Word to the masses, our government is backwards. Only thing I've learned is what a babble when a crab is. Deploying all these tactics to keep us all distracted. Scrolling on our gadgets and we scroll right past it. While we caught up in the fashion, they sitting back laughing. This education we're lacking, all the laws they be passing. Peep the curriculum, you see they're subtracting the necessary work. These kids mentally absent, turned out full plastic.